Good morning, my dear friends. Good morning, Mike and Jason and Ali and Beep. So good to see you in the chat. So we will have our traditional news review in the morning. It's so good to see you, my friends. Oh my God. It feels like I just stopped streaming yesterday, but it feels like it was just a minute ago. I don't even remember how I slept. Hello, just Neila and everyone else. All right, let's jump in the updates, because today we actually had a lot of things happening in Ukraine, not only in Ukraine, also in the Terrorist Federation. And the amount of news is actually overwhelming. Hello, Iris. Hello, David. And Mike, did I mention Mike? Mike, good morning to you as well. A lot of things happened. Katya, good morning. How are you? First of all, according to the reports of Ukrainian Minister of Defense, as a result of the Ramstein meeting, Ukraine will receive the packages of military aid from Sweden, Czechia, Canada, Portugal, and Finland. Also, the funds will be spent on delivering drones and electronic warfare measures, as well as winter clothes and equipment and missile components. And also, according to the results of this meeting, numerous countries will buy weaponry for Ukrainian defenders from Ukrainian manufacturers for a price worth approximately $715 million. As we can see, Ukrainian support of Ukraine is growing. It's still there. The countries are ready to keep supporting our country, and our dear friends and partners are massively getting involved into the PURL program. Besides that, in Nizhny Novgorod, a new factory is on fire. I don't remember the details of what exactly factory is this. I had this update and I deleted it accidentally. But besides that, an electric generation substation in Belgorod decided to start smoking, as we can see. And frankly speaking, the dude who is recording that is sighing. Yeah, very bad. Besides that, Russians are actually starting to panic just a bit. Okay, just a second. We had some kind of confirmation coming from a different public. They say that tonight the Russians actually shot down their very own aircraft. I saw this one, it's Su-30, during the attempt to intercept Ukrainian drones. Fighter bomber, the Russian propagandist who posts different updates about their successes and losses, keeps quiet though, but we have information coming from different sources that actually it's true that Russians accidentally shot down their very own aircraft. Returning to our news compilation, 13th of October, in the train that was heading from Interlaken to the city of Spitz in Switzerland, a Russian degenerate from Latvia, called Alexander Vabiks, attacked a Ukrainian family, and the reason for this attack was because he didn't like that they were speaking Ukrainian language while sitting there in the train, so he started screaming and threatening the Ukrainian family, saying that we are Russians, we will kill you all, and you and you and everyone else. Then he tried to smack the woman's phone out of her hand, and basically the fight started. So the passengers called police, which arrived to the station. The Russians degenerates started demanding a Ukrainian to pay him 10,000 Swiss francs, so he would not press charges, and also he was extremely arrogant and disrespectful towards police, and turned out that he doesn't have Swiss citizenship, and he also doesn't speak German at all. The police officers said that they will investigate.
Ты, бля, извиняйся, что ты сделаешь? Что ты не в окопе сидишь, ебаное чмо, бля.
And basically the Russian degenerate on your screens is screaming. He demands from Ukrainian apology. He asks why Ukrainian is not in the trench. However, Russian himself doesn't seem to be sitting in the trench at this moment. And we can see that basically after a while he got up from his chair. It's not on the video, but generally I saw it. And it was actually very, very hard to understand what he says, because it was hard to find like actual words among all those rectal masses that were produced by this mouth. And he says, delete this video. Delete this video because this will end very bad for you. And generally, guys, this is like a typical Russian tourist. We say a lot that, you know, there are like those good Russians who escaped from mobilization or whatever, or for example that if those Russians live outside Russia they must be good Russians, which is not always the case. In many different cases, as you can see, they are absolutely aggressive, threatening, and they are threatening not only towards Ukrainians but generally speaking every civilized human being. So I think it's a good idea to, generally speaking, cancel them and basically isolate until they learn how to behave properly. That's just my personal opinion. So that is his page ВКонтакте, as far as I understand. He studied in Riga, and also he says that he lives in Zurich. On his social media page, and also he comes from Riga. However, he doesn't speak German at all, according to the guys. So that's like the face of the Russian tourist, and I don't know what to say. Let's check out what else do we have. First of all, we can see the attack conducted by the good Ukrainian drones against the Russian electric substation Balashevskaya in Volgograd Oblast. That is responsible for transferring energy between the Russian regions. And let's check it out. Again, a bunch of like this rectal mass coming from their mouths, and you can like listen to this. Listen to this.
Есть нахуй, все, третий выключатель. Сука!
Охуеть.
Пиздец, это все, меня сотку выдернул. По-любому, я уже говорил.
So what they say is basically they are celebrating. They go like, yay, suka, finally they hit our power station and we had no electricity. But seriously, they say like, shit, the electricity is no more. They will turn off the power. And they are right. Blame Putin for that, basically. Like, if you are sad, that's only because Putin makes, you said. And also we have another interesting video coming from a different Russian who was mad because he went to the gas station and all of a sudden he realized that Russians who sell fuel actually increase prices dramatically. So basically it's like robbery, you know.
Знаете,
Let's
друзья,
listen to
я
him.
хочу обратиться к АЗС, ну такие, знаете, частники, которые...
I want to address the staff at the gas stations, you know, the private gas stations that
Вот заправки УРТК, как у нас в Московской области.
that we have in the Moscow Oblast.
Знаете, друзья, я хочу обратиться, такие, знаете, частники, которые типа вот заправки УРТК, как у нас в Московской области, на фоне дефицита топлива
So considering the deficit of the fuel,
сейчас эти вот некие такие заправки
these gas stations,
слишком дохуя мнения о себе, мне кажется.
again, some like rectal Russian, you know, language coming out of his mouth, and he says that they think too much about themselves,
Завысили цены охуеть как.
and they increased the prices. How to translate it? How to translate rectal Russian language into a proper human language? Dramatically.
Схуя ли вы решили, что вы такие пиздатые парни, вы можете так цены поднимать?
And he doesn't understand why they decided that they are such good people, right? And they decided to rise prices for Russian drivers, considering this deficit of fuel in
Мне
the
просто
terrorist
вот
federation.
интересно. Это охренеть просто. Вот какого хрена вы так поднимаете цены?
So he's basically nagging that Russians, feeling this moment that they can finally steal some more gold, right, from this poor Russian population, they decided to grow prices, to increase prices for the fuel for the population.
Когда есть такая сейчас проблема в стране, что есть дефицит топлива, в связи, знаете, с какими проблемами? Почему вы наживаетесь, блядь, на этом, а?
He says, considering the fact that we have shortage of fuel related to you know what kind of problem, you know, like those Russians, they are afraid to speak. Actually, this makes me happy so much every single time I see like those videos, you know, when they want to nag, but they don't. But they are afraid to actually speak out words, all right? Speak out words. He's afraid to say that the reason we don't have fuel is because Ukraine is striking our fuel refineries. But if he tells that, then basically he will admit that Ukraine is very, very successful in decimating Russia's fuel production and things like that, which is no. That's very, very bad to say. So he is afraid to actually talk, right?
Вы знаете, что люди вынуждены будут покупать топливо по таким ценам? Бессовестные нахалы.
And he's like, you bad people, bad gas stations, because people will have to spend their money on buying, you know, fuel and paying like such incredibly inflated prices, right? And he's like, bad Russians.
Пороть вас надо, блядь.
And he says, you gotta be punished.
Выстроить напротив заправок ваших, снять штаны, наклонить и выпороть как следует, блядь.
And he's legitimately mad. He says, you gotta be lined up in front of your gas stations. We gotta pull down your pants and punish you very well.
При честном народе. Бессовестный, у меня слов нету, а? Нельзя так, нельзя.
Yeah, and like look at this face. I have to make a screenshot. Wait a second. I will just screenshot this shit because it's just so good. All right, I just did because like this face is a perfect face of, you know, like a Russian citizen that will will work very, very good on my thumbnails, because it's like, you know, a face radiating this, you know, righteous anger and shit. Oh my god. Jason, he angry. Yeah, absolutely. He is so mad he is so mad, not at Putin, of course, all right, not at like other Z-generates. And judging from, for example, the green jacket that he has, that kind of slightly reminds me of a military jackets that people are wearing nowadays. The fleece one. I might be wrong though, but it's like, I don't know, maybe it's a professional deformation. Yeah, but I will save this face and I will use it because it's just so good. Remember like that dude who was attacked by HIMARS missiles while crossing the road. That anger should be used properly, all right? It's not supposed to be used like recording cringy videos and like attacking the personnel of the gas stations, because generally speaking, the personnel of the gas stations, they're also fucked, all right? But this anger should be used properly. It should be directed against Kremlin. It should be directed against the idiots who literally started all this. Like, dude, not only you will not have fuel to drive your fucking car, soon you will not have fuel to feed your generator, which you will, frankly speaking, need very, very much, very, very soon. All right. Okay, let's continue. Okay. And again, it's so typical when, you know, the prices in Russia start growing as soon as the fuel gets more scarce, because this is Russia, because they have this, you know, social responsibility the Russian way. All right. Fragdan Shizo, good morning, my friend. Everything's fine. I almost had a good sleep. Frankly speaking, my friends, I had some crazy ass dreams. All right. I had some absolutely crazy ass dreams. I literally traveled back in time when I was like a student in the high school, and we had Russian invasion, and we had to silently eliminate one of the orcs who came into our room, and like in order for him not to raise alarm. Then some freaking missiles started falling. It was so good. Oh my god, it was like in the good old times. So we have some interesting information coming from different Russian bloggers, different Russian observers who actually nag that Russian commanders keep sending the orcs into the meat assaults. So, for example, Pozivnoy Leon, actually very, very famous terror Russian observer, he has almost 170,000 subs in his Telegram channel. He says, Settlement Shakhova near Dobropilya, he said that yesterday a new information emerged about another meat assault that was conducted by our noble commanders. So the fact that they already tried that in places like Ugledar and Avdiivka don't make them do any conclusions, and as a result of the attack that took place yesterday, we lost a lot of men. He talks about tens of injured, 17 vehicles lost. I believe maybe not only the golf carts and donkeys, but most probably like legit vehicles. And he says, who will be responsible for that? Because since the beginning of the war, I have never seen an update that some idiot was punished for slaughtering so many guys. Almost 4 years since the beginning of the war, and this shit keeps going. So he is very mad that, oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. He's very, very mad that Putin is actually sending all those Russian terrorists in the meat assaults and it doesn't stop, now nobody is getting punished. What did you expect? Dude, oh my god, позывной, whoever you are, like, this is the way your army is actually fighting. You know, maybe like the reason behind their righteous anger, righteous rant, all right, in the social media is because they sincerely believe that Russian Federation has professional army, that Russian commanders are saving their soldiers, they care for their personnel. Maybe they were like convinced that this is the case, and they were also convinced that, for example, Americans cannot fight, Ukrainians cannot fight completely, of course, and if Russians fight professionally and stuff like that, then basically all the news updates about Russian army fighting somewhere in the outskirts of Lviv is true, and then everybody else lies, you know. They lie about killing all those Russians, for example, in Bucha, you know, when that huge column got obliterated and everyone survived and stuff. Maybe he was just literally convinced that this is true. Maybe he was raised, you know, on those magnificent Russian and cringy as fuck, by the way, Russian movies portraying, for example, Russian Marines. Fuck, let me show you some of those because they are just so good. Русские, my god, русские морпехи, кино СССР. Yeah, like this, for example. I don't remember literally the name of this movie. Ответный ход, the feedback or something like that. The response move. This is a Russian trilogy actually portraying like Russian Marines that actually fight against evil NATO, and it's like 70s, 80s, something like that. You can see like a lot of those tough mustachio men wearing black berets, and in this movie they actually like guys, they kick your asses. They kick your asses so bad. In this movie, unfortunately, we have to admit, because, you know, they saved all of their personnel. Nobody died, of course. A lot of Yankees were obliterated by Orthodox Russian Navy. So maybe like the reason behind Russians being convinced that actually somebody should be punished, you know, for letting all those young Russians die is because they were raised on those movies. They were actually educated that Russian army is so good, like Russian Morpekhi, Russian Navy and stuff like that. Russian Marines are, you know, like legit soldiers. However, it was proved and it was studied by every single NATO member that Russian army literally uses people in meat assaults since fucking 18th century and nothing changed at all, alright? The mustache count, Sadisto, yeah, absolutely. The mustache must be, it's like Russian Spetsnaz starter pack, actually. Like when you look at those movies, you can actually see like those Russians with, you know, wearing gloves without fingers in order to have their fingers burnt against the hot barrels of their machine guns because they're so tough. You can see like mustache, all right. You can see, you know, those bandanas and stuff like that because this is Spetsnaz, all right. This is Russian Spetsnaz. Amazing Russian Spetsnaz. Spetsnaz starter pack. I think I already mentioned that like in one of the videos on a UATV, by the way. So maybe the reason behind that is because they were raised and on those movies they believe that Russian army is actually something legit. Turns out that it's not the case. Turns out that like old Soviet fucks with big ranks, they just use the young Russian population as a fucking cannon fodder and they don't care. And the reason they don't get punished, because in 4 years, the fucker mentions that in 4 years I haven't seen any case. Because you will not see that. It's not because this is a problem. This is the way your Russian army is fighting. All right? I'm surprised that you couldn't notice that previously. I'm just surprised. I'm surprised that, having so many subscribers on your channel, you still don't get like the reality, the obvious facts. So another update coming from India this time. Yesterday, President Trump stated that he talked to Indian Prime Minister Modi and he convinced him not to buy Russian oil. At the same time, official Indian government reported that the priority... you have it in English anyways, why am I translating it for you? India is a significant importer of oil and gas. It's been our consistent priority to safeguard the interests of the Indian consumer. So basically, you understand the sense of this message, right? This is an official statement of the Indian government as of 16th of October, basically yesterday. They say, where the US is concerned, we have for many years sought to expand our energy procurement. This has steadily progressed in the last decade. The current administration has shown interest in deepening energy cooperation with India. Discussions are ongoing. And basically, from the tone of this message, you can most probably understand that they are not going to stop buying Russian oil, right? Yesterday, we tried to make bets whether they will, and personally, I don't see anything regarding, stopping buying Russian oil. They say that the priority of the energy agenda of India is basically protection of interests of Indian population in the environment of unstable energy situation. So basically, thank you very much. We will keep buying that. But we also have good news, because you can only buy Russian oil if Russia has actually oil, right? If Russia produces it. Because on the night on 16th of October, basically yesterday, the Ukrainian defenders hit the Russian oil refinery in Saratov Oblast. Oh my God, soon it will stop being, like news updates, because they just keep hitting Russian oil refineries like it's nothing. So what we know is that in Saratov, Russians actually had some of their oldest oil refineries in the terrorist federation. As of 2023, the capacity of processing oil was around 4.8 million tons, right? So this one was successfully hit. I don't know the details on the on the scale of damage, right? But hopefully we will have some updates on that as well. I think all centers are working on that, right? What else? Saw a training video of Spetsnaz, Beep says. Once with martial arts, or rather bullshido, it was hilarious. Didn't surprise me they got their asses handed to them in Kyiv airport on day one. Yeah, so one thing you should know about those trainings, generally when you see a bunch of people, right, sitting and watching Spetsnaz doing their bullshido, or right, breaking bottles over their heads, walking on nails and stuff like that, that's basically like a show. It's nothing special. It's like choreography. They train that, all right? They have multiple reenactments, rehearsals rather, and they train how to make good show. It happens everywhere, in every army of the world, generally speaking. However, in Russia, it's of course much more visual and impressive, because the level of cringe they radiate when they show, that Russian martial arts, the contactless combat and everything else is absolutely overwhelming. Returning to our updates, what you see on your screens looks like Shahed, but actually it's not. So it's a copy of Shahed. United States and Ukraine actually created an analog of the Russian/Iranian Shahed that is armed with artificial intelligence, and it can fly at a distance at 1,000 miles or approximately 1,600 kilometers. So it was already used in the Terrorist Federation, all right? It was already tested on the Terrorist Federation. And according to the DE, what the fuck is DE? Defense Express? Anyways, so according to this news outlet, the Ukrainian/American copy of the Russian Shahed is now being produced massively. So this UAV is called Artemis ALM-20. Its warhead contains 45 kilograms of explosives, or roughly 100 pounds, and also it was completely tested and tested really well in the Terrorist Federation. So it has navigation installed using GPS, without GPS, far transit, and also it can detonate directly on the ground, for example, if it's intercepted or suppressed. That's very interesting. Generally speaking, looks kind of like Shahed. Like the shape, most probably is because the shape is actually effective. The engine, though, is different because from what I can see... Wait, where's the engine to show? This is what the engine looks like. Doesn't look like Rotax to me. Doesn't look like whatever China is providing Russia with. Most probably it has more efficient engine. That's what I'm saying. So in Sumy Oblast, we have another update from our defenders who say that North Koreans are massively involved in the operation of invading the Sumy Oblast of Ukraine. So we can see, for example, that the North Koreans are launching their drones. They help Russian terrorists with different... there's quite a few drones, like 10. They help Russia with drone warfare. They help Russia with collecting intelligence, processing intelligence, and things like that. Germany published a bunch of leaflets for its population what to do in case of crisis or critical situations, talking about what sorts of supplies to have at your home if you want to survive, for example, 10 days. You need to keep products that don't require preparation or cooking. Also, you need basically first aid, flashlight, power bank, sleeping bag. Oh my god, like I was making the similar video just a while ago, I believe. I think I even had a stream on that. And basically, yeah, they're now publishing the same, which actually makes me not happy, but satisfied that this information is coming to people in Germany, that Bundestag actually... I highly doubt that they watch my video specifically, but I'm very, very satisfied with the fact that they care for their population in Germany. So it's very good. Yeah, and here's another update. As soon as President Zelensky landed in the United States, he learned that actually Trump had a talk with Putin on the phone. They spoke for 2 hours, and Trump made a report on that, and not only a report, but also a press conference, all right, involving different journalists. Turned out that they decided to meet in Budapest with Putin, with internationally wanted war criminal, one more time. So they, after meeting in Alaska, which actually a lot of people describe as triumph of Putin, because he was enabled, he was legalized. Putin can now travel not only to the United States, but he can travel around EU and things like that freely, you know, wanted by the International Crime Court. Fuck it. Nobody cares. Obviously, Orban doesn't recognize the authority of the International Crime Court because why would he? If he would get arrested himself, I believe. So Orban was extremely happy to hear that they will be meeting with Putin and Trump in Budapest. He says Budapest is ready and Hungary is an island of peace. Speaking of island, it's kind of interesting. Let's take a look at the map, all right? So here we have Ukraine, all right? Here we have like this big terrorist federation. Here we have Belarus, Poland, and yada yada. And over here we have amazing country of Hungary, all right? So it's surrounded by Ukraine, which I don't see Ukraine actually letting, you know, any Russian aircraft flying in its sky. We have Romania, also a NATO member. We have Serbia, maybe. We have Bosnia, we have Croatia, Slovenia over here, Austria, that actually also condemns Russian invasion of Ukraine, calling them invaders and basically calling them for what they are. We have Czechia, we have Slovakia. But, well, okay, Slovakia and Hungary currently ruled by pro-Russian regimes. At the same time, here we have Poland. Guys, tell me how exactly Putin is going to fly to Hungary. Let's assume that he flies from like the territory of the terrorist federation, like here from Krasnodar, and trying to fly over Turkey. Okay, he might receive approval, and then he goes like over the Adriatic Sea. And what does he do next? Like, will he fly over Albania or Montenegro or Bosnia? I don't know. Generally, if you look at like this piece of map, we have Serbia, we have Hungary, we have Slovakia, basically the countries that can actually allow the aircraft to fly. But the rest of the countries, I am not really sure, all right? I think if he risks flying over Italy, Putin will, I don't know, Giorgia Meloni will light a cigarette from the burning remains of his airplanes, that's for sure. But how exactly is he going to fly to Hungary? That's an interesting question. I don't really know. So yesterday we talked to the DW during the stream, and he actually said that he doesn't see Putin coming to Hungary, and basically what he does is like trying to save time, trying to win more time to kill more Ukrainians. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this one, all right? Because I'm lost. Maybe he will take his bubble submarine. Yeah, but generally, only some specific Vatnik submariners from MAGA can use submarines to travel to Afghanistan, for example, right? If you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, Putin will use a gas pipeline to get to Budapest. That sounds plausible. Actually, like if he crawls all the way from... But again, the pipeline is going through Ukrainian territory. So remember that video of wild hog attacking Russians in the pipe? That might happen because Ukrainian battle hogs are like extremely dangerous creatures. They are absolutely savage. The mighty Huilo class submarine, that's for sure. Like, I believe that if his airplane gets intercepted somewhere over the Adriatics by our beautiful Italian friends, I believe that his airplane can turn from Tu-134 or whatever he uses into the Huilo class submarine, 100%. Let's continue with our updates. We have another successful attack on the Russian substation, this time in Samara Oblast. We can observe something that actually makes Russians extremely happy these days. They look at their burning substations, and those who have some sort of IQ, all right, among the Russian citizens, they might probably have, those faint associations with what they were saying in 2022, that they will bomb Ukraine into the Stone Age. They were writing cringy commentaries in the internet. I remember I think it was on a YouTube, I left a message somewhere under a channel. I don't even remember the details, but some of kind of smart Russians left a commentary under my commentary, like, what's your electricity doing? So basically better than this, all right? Basically better than this, because I will be extremely, extremely happy to hear what they think about like that on your screens. So we have a very interesting commentary coming from one of the Ukrainian analysts and monitoring channels who say that the strikes on those Russian power stations and substations is not situational, it's deliberate, because the Russian energy system is a bit different from Ukrainian, and with the time we might probably understand the puzzle, like why exactly those substations were hit, which actually makes sense in my personal opinion. We can see that another Ukrainian Telegram channel asked a question: how exactly Putin is going to fly to Hungary? At the same time, considering the talks between Putin and Trump, the Russian stock exchange started to grow all of a sudden. This one is actually an old publication. I believe it was published in 2022. It comes from Anatoly Dremov. Those who know, they know. Russian fascist and yada yada. So back in 2022, he was discussing the attack on Kharkiv. The attack when Russian fascists actually hit Kharkiv with ballistic missiles, with their artillery. And he says it's 17th of August, couple of years ago, basically. He says today's strike on Kharkiv, it's something that we had to do, because this war, instead of 2 weeks, is now continuous for half a year. So basically it's 2022. He says we should start radical measures, because elimination of peaceful people can actually influence Kyiv, and this might help us win the war. Unfortunately, there is no other way for us to win. The God is with us. Gott mit uns, right? That is a message from a very famous Russian fascist, Anatoly Dremov, very famous Russian opinion maker, that was published basically the same year when the Russian invasion started, after a half years, when they realized that they're not going to win. So the question is, did it help them to eliminate civilian population of Ukraine? Because they tried and they keep trying. I believe that this publication is also like a very good thing to save, to look at from time to time, to remember that Russians are actually terrorist cancer that should be banned. All right, Russian Federation and Russians like that are actually the terrorist cancer that should be eliminated and banned, all right, and prosecuted and cancelled around the world, because otherwise we are absolutely fucked as a civilization, all right, as a humankind, if we keep supporting it or tolerating it. So the young Republican Party is basically reading the scripts of Russia's. That's what I'm saying. It's not because Republican Party is bad. It's because we enable Russians, all right? It's because they have a good role model. It's because they have a good example, all right? Good example to use. And we have to cancel and basically disable Russian fascist, Russian ideology, Russian mir, wherever we go. So yesterday, after his talks to internationally wanted war criminal Putin, after the phone call, Trump actually changed his mind. He said that United States also need Tomahawks. They cannot just waste them, sent to other countries.
I do say to you, we need Tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them.
Basically. So rhetorics changed regarding Ukraine. Everything's fine. I am waiting for it to change back. All right, one more time. However, we'll see, because President Zelensky today is visiting Washington, D.C. He will speak to President Trump in the evening around 8 p.m. Kyiv time. So they will have a conversation. We will see. Maybe he will bring some more enlightenment into the life of the American president and debunk some more Russian bullshit. Because generally speaking, Trump talked to Putin for 2 hours over the phone. And not everyone can withstand that. Actually, even Tucker Carlson, as you probably remember that interview, when he was like, from his face, everything was very, very clear what he thought, all right, about Putin, talking about Genghis Khan and things like that. Also, Donald Trump shared what else they were talking about with Putin on the phone. He asked whether Putin likes if Trump provides several thousand Tomahawks to his opposition, which is something I didn't understand.
I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea. He really didn't like the idea. No.
What can I say? Thank you so much for consulting with Putin whether the US should actually provide Ukraine with Tomahawks. I'm not sure if he even meant this, because as you can see, it looks like a joke. But I'm trying very, very hard. Very hard to wear the red hat. Seriously, since the, I don't know, since 2018. I'm trying very, very hard to wear the red hat. I just can't. It just keeps slipping out of my head. I don't know what to do. I would like to say, President Trump, thank you so much for your incredible support for Ukraine, for all that weaponry coming to Ukraine and help us to defend ourselves, and all the beautiful things that you do for us. but like I just can't. Since the moment when Ukrainians were absolutely deprived of the American intelligence and had to withdraw from Kursk, which actually gave Russia opportunity to concentrate more Russian personnel on Ukrainian territory and develop their attack towards Pokrovsk, because in Kursk we had a situation when Ukrainian army could actually distract Russian attention and attract as much as 100,000 Russian personnel. All right. So while those 100,000 Russian personnel were busy in Kursk, all right, other regions of Ukraine, areas of Pokrovsk, area of Chasiv Yar, they were more or less protected and defended, all right? And now, after Ukraine had to withdraw their troops, after being deprived of the intelligence data, Russia can actually concentrate more of their efforts on trying to take those cities, to strike them and things like that. So since that moment earlier this year, I find it very, very hard to wear a red hat. I'm trying, please help me, guys. I want to believe, all right? I want to believe, but I just can't do that. I don't know. So the summary of that, and also, as we can see, according to Ushakov is a representative of the Terrorist Federation. He's representative of Kremlin. He also made a conference and talked about what Putin and Trump were speaking on the phone about. And he said that Putin actually told Trump that Tomahawks will not change situation at the battlefield, but they will ruin the relations between the United States and terror Russia. Only Russians can actually do that, all right? Only Russians can combine two chapters that completely exclude one another, that self-terminate. Like, yes, Tomahawks, you can give like 1 million Tomahawks to Ukrainians. It will not change nothing, all right? But I will be mad. I will be very, very mad at you, Donald. Don't do that, all right? Don't do that. You will ruin the beautiful friendship between us, all right, between two elderly men. But on the other hand, of course, it will not change, all right? Russia is winning. Russia is taking so much land every single day. We take 2 Kyivs, 3 Kharkivs. We captured almost all Ukraine, basically, just, like shooting insurgents and stuff like that. So no matter how, like, 2,000 Tomahawks will not change anything, all right? It won't. Why ruin our friendship, all right? So if Russia is saying that it will not change anything, it's a clear indication that they are fucking anxious. They are afraid of actual delivery of those missiles to Ukraine, 100%. And of course, as soon as Trump started even talking, Trump and Hexet and everyone else started talking about delivery of those missiles to Ukraine, Putin all of a sudden decided to talk. He actually decided to have a conversation, all right? What else can we summarize from this? So first of all, Ukraine already decimated almost 40% of Russian fuel refining capacities, which means that we can do shit without Tomahawks, all right? We are able to do damage on the Russian territory without even using such weapons as Tomahawks. And we will keep doing that. Ukraine keeps ramping up its production of long-range weaponry, of Flamingo missiles, Peklo drones / missiles and stuff like that. So Beep says, according to ATP channel, no Tomahawks for Ukraine. That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, Ukrainians don't like bullshit generally. Like, we either do that or no, or just let's switch the topic. All right. So we don't like to discuss this fuckery for years, like tomahawks delivered, not delivered. Fuck that. We have work to do. All right. We have to build more missiles. We have more Russian targets that we have to strike, and basically we will concentrate on that. Guys, did anything change? All right, like literally, did anything change for Ukraine in terms of international support or support from the United States since January 2025? Generally speaking, no. Besides the fact that there were cases when the support stopped coming to Ukraine, all right? Besides that, not much changed. Ukraine keeps fighting, Russia keeps stalling, losing its vehicles and personnel. Ukraine keeps creating and producing long-range drones and missiles, and keeps sending them at Russian refineries. What actually changed was the fact that, for example, United States and Ukraine are now closely cooperate in building the long-range drones, also interceptor drones. So is it bad? No, it's good. It's not really good for Ukraine because we don't get like Tomahawks, for example, right? But the United States will receive drones that are able to strike Russian targets, for example, or like whatever targets they decide. Also interceptor drones in case, some unknown drones start flying over the American territory, and it makes us Ukrainians happy because we are your friends, all right? If we criticize you, it's not because we hate you, it's because we love you, actually. So does it change something for Ukraine? No. Ukraine changes something. And also our partners who actually will provide Ukraine with the weaponry bought from the United States. So that's the answer. We have work to do, and we will keep doing that. Russia also has work to do because Russia is preparing for this amazing collapse that may approach around mid-2026. They keep preparing. They buy a lot of Vaseline, all right. They buy a lot of condoms, and they keep preparing. Keep massaging their ears because the consequence will be very, very bad for the terrorist federation. Most probably Putin will be eliminated as well. Something tells me that, all right? When those angry Russians, my God, where did I save that? Shit, where did I save that freaking screenshot? Is it in my... No, it's not here. Oh my God. Anyways, my friends, when those angry Russian citizens, when they realize that they don't have energy, they don't have fuel, they don't have water, they don't have internet, they don't have heating, of course, that they don't have future, basically, there is a very, very high chance that this very angry man will go out and go to his local administration and actually start asking, his authorities, like, what the fuck, all right? There's a very, very faint hope that that might actually happen, all right? I am very skeptical, and guys, I'm always very skeptical when it comes to civil consciousness in the Russian society and things like that, civil awareness, civil responsibility, because Russians are not free. They are slaves. They don't know what it means to live a free life. They don't know what it means to choose your destiny, to choose your future, to not be robbed by oligarchs, to not worship someone, like whoever it is, Tsar, Tsar, Messiah, or whatever, they don't understand what it means to be free. And that is why I'm highly, highly skeptical at all times, all right, at all times, that Russians might actually start some shit. However, I never exclude such possibility because history knows such cases. For example, in Russia, over the past 30 years, they had at least 2 revolutions already. Almost 3, all right? Because one was when GKChP tried, to revenge, all right, already in the independent terror Russia. Then we had Prigozhin's mutiny, and between those 2 events, we had like meeting at Bolotnaya by Navalny and other Russian impotents. I'm speaking about the Russian opposition. That basically never changes anything. When there was a fire and resistance in Ukraine at the Maidan, when they were shooting Ukrainian protesters with sniper rifles and everything else, at the same time, Navalny was taking selfies in like Russian police cars heading to prison. What the fuck are we talking about? So the only thing we can hope for is, like this relentless and absolutely inhumane Russian revolt that unfortunately may bring people like Strelkov to power, or Don Kadyrov or whoever, but that's the only way they can actually switch power in the terrorist federation, or basically get deconstructed and collapse and torn into different tiny pieces, maybe. So that's just my opinion. What else do we have more updates besides that? Fantomas on the screen. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about that amazing Russian. Yes, we do have several more updates. First of all, Russian propagandist Ivan Zuyev, yes. Russian propagandist Ivan Zuyev stopped lying, finally. So he became a better Russian. He was an employed propagandist at the Solovyov's channel, Solovyov Live. Again, Solovyov hates everything Western so much, but at the same time, his TV show is called Solovyov Live, not Solovyov Эфир, not Solovyov Живой. Fuck. I don't know. Not Solovyov вещает, but Solovyov Live, because he hates everything Anglo-Saxon so much, all right? So according to the reports coming from Russians themselves, the Russian propagandist Ivan Zuyev, this bastard here, Vietnam veteran for real? What? It's so cringy. So he stopped lying on the territory of Ukraine, effectively turning into a fertilizer. Also, we have a report coming from temporarily occupied Donetsk, which is a Ukrainian city temporarily occupied by the orcs, where a huge storage of ammunition was actually eliminated today. You can see on your screens what it looked like. And we have Orango thingy. Oh my god, this was just so cute, so I decided to share it with you. So an orangutangy learn how to take care for tigers, for tiny tiger kittens, by watching the actual staff of this zoo, and this orangutangy learned how to take care. All right, so he does everything like the staff. He plays, or she. I think it's a she, right? Let me see the face. Could be she though. I know that males have like bigger cheeks, all right, because they bite each other. So yeah, so this orangutan learn how to care after tigers. How cool is that? If they can, we definitely can, right? Kirill Dmitriev. This one goes straight into the section of the terror Russian cringe, right? Kirill Dmitriev offered Elon Musk a new project worth $8 billion to actually build a tunnel underneath the Pacific Ocean on the north, connecting Russian and American territory. Dear Americans, please raise your hands in the chat who actually wants to have direct connection, direct tunnel between the terror Russia and your beautiful country of United States of America. Please let me know, like, if you celebrate this idea, right? On one hand, of course, it gives you amazing opportunity to eventually get rid of all sorts of Tucker Carlson's team pools. They will have direct escape roads, all right? For example, after the upcoming elections in the United States. On the other hand, that chat looks extremely cringy to me. Will Elon Musk agree? We will see. Maybe he will be like, why not? Why not? On the other hand, it's also introducing an enormous risk of, for example, millions and millions of Russian fascists who hate you so much to actually go to the United States and start doing prostitution, trading like drugs, do all sorts of those ugly, filthy things. And also hate United States and live there because it's better in the in the terrorist federation. So there's also this sort of opportunity. So like that Russian tourist in that train that we saw just a while ago, you will see a lot of them in your trains, in your buses as well. Please let me know if you're happy to welcome there in the United States. All right. What else? We have another video coming from Sochi, actually. So in Sochi, they had a massive air alert. There were multiple explosions, and as you can see, something is freaking burning there. That's so the burning is Gvardiiske, temporarily occupied Ukrainian peninsula of Crimea. In the meantime, in Sochi, we can see and hear air alert sirens. We can hear explosions because this town was very much scared. It was catching good Ukrainian drones the whole night. I don't really know the details, and we don't have the results so far. Yeah, you can hear that faint sound of sirens over the beautiful Russian Sochi, and I'm really, really happy that actually Russians are getting more and more used to those. 2022, 2023, they were like, your Ukrainian kids will be going to bed to the sounds of sirens, Ukrainians. Get ready because this will become your lullaby. But actually it works both ways, motherfuckers. So, guys, I'm very happy to see that they are getting used to this shit as well. Also, another fuel storage was hit in Gvardiiske, Simferopolsky region of the temporarily occupied Crimea. We can see that it's kind of burning. The amount of fuel on the temporarily occupied Crimean Peninsula is shrinking every day, and most probably soon they will have to, create something new, all right? Create something new in terms of transportation. Like, for example, the vehicles that run on firewood. I would really like to see that. So yes, we have confirmation that Russian Su-30 went straight to hell, and the monitoring channels in Ukraine as well as in Russia, by the way, they say that during this during this hunt on good Ukrainian drones, the Russians hit their very own Su-30 over the temporarily occupied Crimea. So we have some more footage coming from Gvardiiska, where a fuel station, oh my god, fuel storage was improved by good Ukrainian drones. And also we have another update that in Rilsk and Belaya, which is Kursk Oblast, also two more Russian energy substations were improved because they were very, very old, and of course they required maintenance. So good Ukrainian drones decided to improve them a bit, and they left approximately 40 Russian settlements without electricity tonight. How beautiful is that? Well, you know, it's very, very quiet at night. For example, if you have a blackout and you look outside, you know, usually it's like dark, it's quiet, so first of all they can have a better sleep, and on the other hand they can enjoy the sounds of sirens from time to time, right? So if they feel like, you know, too bored at night, we will have them with the sirens as well. Security service of Ukraine actually stopped a terrorist attack that was prepared with the help, my God, involving a local that was hired by the Russian terrorists from the terrorist group known as FSB. So in Dnipro, Victoria Drokina, 38, she was a drug addict from Kharkiv, but she was spotted by Russians while searching money for a new dose in the Telegram messenger. So they recruited her, they sent her to Dnipro, where she actually had to blow up a car of a police authority, some of the top police managers in Dnipro. So she collected the explosives from the storage, and you can see not only the explosives themselves, but you can also see the shrapnel, which is basically nails and everything else. And why do they use nails and screws and everything else, all those tiny fragments? You probably understand. It's with the intention of killing as many people as possible. So this lady, she decided to basically kill a lot of people for drugs, you know, for a dose, and thanks to the security service of Ukraine, the legendary Ukrainian SBU, she was captured and this terrorist attack never happened. Also, another Russian terrorist attack was stopped in France, where Russian terrorists actually prepared an assassination of a human rights protector from Russia. So this man actually withdrew from Russia, Vladimir Osechkin. He's founder of the Russian project Gulagu.net, and he's journalist, he's investigator, he is the enemy of the Putin's regime. And because Putin just cannot, you know, sleep well at night knowing that there are Russians abroad who fight against his regime, his bullshit, he decided to assassinate this man, and in order to make it possible, they hired several citizens of France and Russia between 26 and 38 years old. 3 of them were born in Dagestan. Of course, Dagestan. You may ask, like, why? Well, because if you want to find someone who is dumb enough all right, and aggressive enough to like commit all sorts of fucking crimes, all sorts of crimes, including the most horrible ones, including like those that took place in Bucha. You go and hire Dagestani or like Kadyrovites, right? Kadyrovites more cunning, Dagestani are more dumb, and they are very, very good candidates for that. So the French police actually cancelled this assassination, according to La Parisienne. They cancelled this assassination, they intercepted the assassins, and basically this man, Vladislav Osechkin, he's also famous. He became known after surviving tortures in the Russian prisons, and also publications publications of interviews with the foreign Wagnerites about the war crimes in Ukraine. So basically it makes me extremely happy that he survived this, because his publications actually cause Putin to butt hurt big time, right? And not only Putin, I believe. And I think we can finish this one with just a tiny case of Russian cringe. All right. Let me check out the comments real quick. What do we have? It's the Aussies for Ukraine club. I see. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like, in the morning we have, only the tough people from Australia, New Zealand, Europeans, United States generally sleep. Besides Ali is always here, ready to provide us with security guarantees, with proper protection against the terror Russian trolls. And also, is Katya sleeping? Katya, no. Katya is also there. All right. So let me translate this one for you, because this one is actually amazing. So we have a publication in the Russian media, right? I will read it for you. So a citizen of Murmansk, okay, died on the war, and generally speaking, like, why they call it a war, the risk of being like assassinated now. Anyways, a citizen of Murmansk died on the war after a month of his 18th birthday. He got recruited immediately after being sentenced for murdering his mom. And we have details on the war in Ukraine. 18-year-old dude from Murmansk was he died. So why he was sentenced? When he was 17, he murdered his own mama, and he was sent to jail. But of course, what is like the next step for people like him in Russia? It's basically signing the contract with the terrorist army of the toilet snatchers and being sent to Ukraine and basically become a fertilizer for Ukrainian sunflowers and cucumbers. And this is so beautiful. Like, we have an amazing case of Russian heroes. And by the way, my dear friends, you think that this is like cringe or something? It's not the cringiest thing. Jason says, typical Russian. Absolutely. So it's not the cringiest thing, my dear friends. The cringiest thing is that he dies, and then in Murmansk somewhere, for example, in the school where he was studying, all right, as a tiny kid, they will fucking name this school after him, all right? They will put this big plaque on the school with his face and say that this is a hero of Russia who died for you, dear Russian kids, who sacrificed his life on the Ukrainian soil, so you could have peaceful life. All right. Of course, they will not mention the fact that he fucking murdered his mom and went to jail, and he was recruited in jail. But we can see fucking gazillion cases like that. Literally, you can Google yourself all the cases when Russian criminals that were sentenced for rape, for cannibalism, I don't know, for robberies. I'm not even mentioning robberies. Being a robber is like it's not even worth it, all right, in Russia. Like in Russia, if you, like, I don't know, kill your parents, fuck your dog, that basically makes you a Russian person, all right? So eligible to go to the Russian jail and sign a contract. So we can see a lot of cases when actually Russian criminals that were sentenced and then signed contract and then died. The Russians name like school desks after them, all right? Like this school desk is named after hero of Russia, Ussuriysky cannibal Vasya Pupkin, for example, or things like that. They love this shit because they love, you know, rewriting history so much, and basically they enjoy lies. If they knew at least half of biographies of those so-called Russian heroes, they would probably, I don't know, run away screaming. But on the other hand, who knows? Maybe they just enjoy this shit. Maybe they are heroes for Russians. Maybe they become heroes for Russians literally because they are fucking scum and criminals. Maybe it just works like that, all right? Like Graham Phillips, famous fucking pervert, and like Scott Ritter and everybody else. Russell Bentley, who was like a fighter, who became a terrorist in the DPR and then became like a reporter, all right? And the reason he ran away from the United States was basically because he disseminated drugs, all right? So maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's like you cannot really become friend or reliable enough in Russia. Maybe they will not consider you reliable if you didn't commit some kind of crazy shit. Gonzalo Lira, absolutely, Gonzalo Lira. Which, by the way, like I completely respect Gonzalo Lira because he is a good pro-Russian propagandist. All right, now he has my respect. So if Russian and pro-Russian propagandists repeat his way, they will also deserve my respect. That's the only way I can, you know. I'm not the biggest believer, all right. I'm not the biggest Christian in the chat, all right? But I actually believe that it's true. You gotta forgive your enemies. Imagine this absolutely beautiful picture from like Ukrainian beautiful landscape. Садок вишневий коло хати, хрущі над вишнями гудуть. So like you have this beautiful cherry orchard. You can smell, you know, the smell of orchard blossoms in the air. There's like your whole family outside on a barbecue, you know, children playing. Your wife brings like this big, I don't know, glass of like moonshine. There's bugs and other creatures flying in the air. You sit down, you enjoy the beautiful evening. You can see your enemy hanging on a tree and you forgive him everything. You know, the wind literally, you know, like rocks him, you know, while he hangs, and you forgive this poor Russian everything. You go, dude, I forgive you. So that's basically like a picture of Ukrainian utopia, just so you know. With that, I will be wrapping this one up because, generally speaking, I have some video to make today before evening. And what else? It's not coffee, by the way, it's tea. I tricked your I tricked you, my friends. I have tea instead of coffee because I don't have milk. You cannot drink coffee without milk. It's a crime. Ukrainian National Guard doesn't approve that. I will go have breakfast. My dear friends, you also please have something tasty. Treat yourself. Don't suffer with an empty stomach because, again, it's a crime against humanity, against yourselves. Please find something good and let's have a breakfast together, by the way. Do I share something? Oh my God, I will share this one because yesterday before stream with DW, I just felt, extremely hungry. So I literally went to kitchen and I grabbed whatever I had in the fridge, which turned out to be actually like cod meatballs, which we call frikadellen, all right? And a bunch of French fries, and the cod was perfect. Actually, I cooked it not the way, for example, ChatGPT offers, right? Like cook it for 10 minutes. No, I cooked it properly this time, with proper temperature, proper time, and it was just so good. It was amazing, actually. So, my dear friends, with that I will stop torturing you because I'm torturing myself with those photos as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later, probably even this evening. Maybe not, maybe I'll be just sleeping like crazy. And also don't forget to check out a video that will emerge tonight at UATV. We'll be speaking about Russian spies, I think. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Thank you for supporting my channel. Big thanks to all the moderators. What's for lunch, Starsky? I think I will have hamburgers, definitely, because I have a bunch of those. Hamburgers and some really, really cool ice cream that comes from like around my part of the world. Slava frikadellen. I confirm, Paul. Frikadellens are very, very good. We'll see you next time, my dear friends. Be safe and bye-bye.